I'm Jenny. I'm an artist and an illustrator, and I also teach people how to draw animals and nature. I was commissioned by the lovely team at Abel & Cole last year to produce some of the illustrations for their 2020 calendar. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to draw, to paint a selection of fruits and vegetables that you might find in your delivery box. So today you're going to need some paper. We'll be starting to sketch out the fruits with pencil, and then we'll take out of those lines with a rubber later on. We'll be drawing the outlines of the fruits in pen. I've got these nice fine liners here. I have obviously some watercolors here. You'll also need some water for mixing, and an area of white that you'll be able to mix your paints in, and of course some paint brushes as well. I like to have a nice thick one sometimes for spreading around the water and the colour, and then a nice fine one as well for picking out those little details. Also, what you really will need is a bit of confidence and a bit of enthusiasm. There's no pressure here at all. You can work with whatever materials you like, and hopefully afterwards you'll feel nice and calm and relaxed and have a lovely picture of some fruit at the end. Before I begin any piece of work, I like to take a really good long hard look at what it is that I'm going to be drawing or painting. So just trying to identify those simple shapes, the way the shapes relate to each other. Got a nice selection of fruits here, a mango, a pineapple, apple and a banana, and what I'm going to do is start by picking out some simple shapes. So have a think about the way in which your picture will be on the page. So obviously you want to make sure you leave room for all of the aspects. So take a moment to just position everything out, and all I'm doing is just using very faint lines, just sketching out where each of the shapes of the fruit will be. A good way of ensuring that you've got everything in the right place is to use the line method. So sometimes what you can do is draw a horizontal or vertical line, on your subject matter, and just make sure that everything along that line is the same on your drawing as it is in the subject matter. Even if the shapes of things look a little bit unusual, I would say always trust your eyes, because you know what these things look like, and even if something's in a strange position, it's a good idea just to kind of get exactly what you see down as opposed to what you think your subject should look like. Still using really nice fine very faint lines here, because what we're going to be doing is rubbing these out afterwards. Almost there now with the sketching out. Again, still just using that line method to make sure everything is correct. So I'm understanding now that the tip of my banana is in the same line as the edge of the pineapple, so I can work that out on my drawing. And I'm going to keep this piece of artwork today quite loose and free. I'm just using this time to be a bit creative as a means to relax, but also just as a way to kind of look closer at things that maybe are common in my kitchen. Just appreciate them for what they are. So, you can see there, that's pretty much all of the lines that I need to begin with the pen. And the reason why I like using pen at the same time as watercolor is because the pen picks out all the sort of outlines and details, and allows the interior to be filled with lots of lovely joyful watercolors. Not kind of pressing on too hard, just allowing the marks that I make with the pen to sort of mirror the sort of texture of the fruit. So this pineapple, it's got lots of sort of bits sticking out and lots of texture, so I'm just using my pen nice and kind of loosely. They say with observational drawing that 90% of the time of your working should be spent looking, and just 10% should be spent drawing. So if you're ever wondering, how something should look, always just refer back to your subject matter. That has all the answers. It's a really good idea just to keep your lines nice and soft and smooth. It is so tempting to almost do almost brush strokes, you know, just trying to connect up your lines, but actually, you know, take a deep breath, have a bit of confidence, and try and get a nice sort of smooth sweeping line, because that will really inform the look of your fruits. Okay, so we are at the end of the pen portion of the program here. So as you can see, everything's just lightly outlined. Again, I've been really keeping a close eye on those proportions and the composition as well. And now, before we apply the watercolour, take out all of your pencil lines. Pencil and watercolour don't mix so well, so we're just going to take out all of these lines before we start applying the paint. What's really nice about watercolour is that it's so free-flowing and it's really fun to use. It's almost like you can't really predict what it's going to do. You sort of just have to let those paints kind of blend and combine, and it can be really exciting. And so I'm going to start with my kind of a nice sort of broad but round brush. So that's going to give me some nice sort of textural marks to kind of work on. So I'm going to start with the inside of the pineapple, and again, I've got an idea of all the yellows that I want to use. Water is the key to making watercolour sing, if you like, and what you're after is using water to almost build a bridge between the two colours that you may be mixing on your page. So if I just demonstrate here, so I want to show that there is a really nice pale yellow to begin with. So I'm using my palest yellow in the palette and putting it on my mixing tray, and then just using a whole lot of water with it. Then I start to identify the areas where this colour is, and what I'm going to do is just to sort of mimic the flesh of the fruit, is just use my paintbrush sort of quite lightly, but just mimicking the way that it's sort of all growing outwards from the core. So now I'm going to look at putting in a bit more of a softer, creamier, more like a sunshine yellow. So that's quite nice, and where the fruit flesh is a little bit more ripe, that's where this colour should go. Something that is really important as well is to leave a bit of white on your paper. Identify your light source and just think, where is the light hitting these, you know, my subject matter? And for me, it's just catching the top here of that pineapple. And so what I'm going to do is leave that part white, because that's the highlight, and that will show a real sense of three-dimensionality in your work. So I'm going to go in with this pale green now. And if you add a little water, you should be able to see those colours mixing and merging on your paper. It is quite fun, also a little bit scary if they're not doing what you want them to do. With watercolours, it's also very easy to overdo things. So my top tip really is less is more. So now we're going to start on the apple, and at this point you don't necessarily need to worry too much about, you know, where your shadows are. What we're kind of doing at this stage is just identifying the areas of colour and just sort of building up slightly every time with a bit more information. So for my apple here, I can see that it's a nice vibrant green in most parts, but there is some touches of pale yellow in there as well, and also a sort of a little kind of an earthy green as well in parts. So you can see how I've painted the green of that apple there. Still nice and light, but you can see the variety of the colours that I've used already. So now we're going to move on to the incredibly colourful mango. So this one has a lot of different colours, so really sort of deep plummy purples, moving into reds, into oranges, into yellows and greens. So just be mindful of all of those colours at the same time and try and build them up so they're lovely and rich, and makes you want to kind of pick the mango off your paper. We're going to start with the deep purple in this side of the mango here. So again, I'm still using my big brush and I want to just guide the paint around the areas that I wanted that particular colour to be in. And so now we go into a red. So what I'm doing is just like almost loading up my brush with colour and then kind of dropping it in to blend with the colour that's next to it. So the water, as I was saying before, provides a little bridge from those colours to kind of meet in the middle. That's a good colourful mango. So now onto the banana. And again, this banana has got a whole variety of different tones in it. Again, it's quite similar to the inside of the pineapple actually. So we've got a nice sunny yellow, a pale yellow, and then it's not quite ripe, so some hints of green as well. And the way I'm using my brush is I'm just following the shapes of the fruit. It's better to do smooth strokes with your brush as opposed to kind of dabbing in the different areas. So just when I'm doing the top of the pineapple here, I can see, well, firstly I'm making sure I am keeping the areas of white where the light is hitting the pineapple, but also I can see, as well as some green, there's sort of some shades of pale brown in there as well. So what I'm doing is just kind of lightly covering some of the green shades with a little bit of brown as well, just to kind of create a sort of rich depth to the colour. In order to make your scene look real and three-dimensional, it's a good idea to give your subject matter some shadow. And I can see from where I'm looking at my subject matter, the light is coming this way, therefore the shadows are falling this way across the paper. And so what I'm going to do is just to mark them out lightly. I've not gone for a grey as such, I've gone for a sort of dark bluey purple because the mango has a bit of purple in, and the blue will just bring out the shades of yellow and green next to it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is switch to my finer brush, and we're going to be starting to pick out some of the details here. So the pineapple has lots of bits coming off it, and also on the mango and the apple there's a little area where it was attached to the tree, so they'll require a little bit more in terms of detail. We're starting to come to life a bit now. Tell you what, I'm having such a relaxing time doing this. I don't know what it is about being creative, but because you're focusing on what you're doing in front of you, it's almost like you can forget all of your worries for a while. You can also add little lines in you know, the inside of your fruit. So obviously any citrus fruits have got very textured insides as well, so it might be nice to, you know, add a little bit of detail there. Just again, always make your paintbrush sort of follow the direction and the structure of the fruits. And now the next thing we're going to do is look at the relationships between the fruits themselves and think about how they're impacting each other. And so we'll want to make sure the shadows relate. So the mango is casting a shadow on the apple, and those two are casting a shadow on the pineapple. And so we want to just give a nod to that, but we don't want them to obstruct our drawing. So again, go really, really gently with your sort of darker colours here. So there we have it. I'm quite pleased with my still life watercolour of some fruits. It's nice and colourful and happy, and I feel very calm and relaxed, which I think is the main thing. I hope all of you lovely Able and Callers enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you find it inspiring and create your own pictures. If you do, we'd absolutely love to see them. Please send them in on Facebook or tag us on Instagram. We'd love to see what you get up to. And with that, I will just say thank you again for watching. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.